Ann Mara. Good morning, Ann. Good morning, Jay. Thank you. All right. So, yeah, what is this about gratitude and how does it work? So, it shifts your focus towards abundance. That's what gratitude does. And it affects you chemically, okay, through serotonin and through endorphins. It makes you feel good when you're grateful, when you express gratitude. And isn't it amazing that human beings are designed to respond to gratitude? Okay, so we are designed to respond to it. So it's a natural thing, okay? And whatever you focus on, right, intensifies. So the more you focus on gratitude, the more gratitude intensifies. So it's just the way it is, okay? So it rewires your emotional state, it amplifies the law of attraction. How does it do that? Well, because like attracts like. And the more you're grateful, right, the more you invite things in. Okay, it shifts you out of fear, out of doubt, out of stress. Okay, so fear and doubt are the two things that keep things away from you. Okay, so you put up a energetic force field like this. Okay, but not just that. What it does is it prevents your belief from establishing into your subconscious. So this is all subconscious. Okay, so a lot of people think that, oh, this is magic. This is just gonna, I'm gonna be grateful and then everything's gonna change. No, it's a process. It's a process. Okay, so it also aligns you into the frequency of already having when you believe you already have something. Okay, so you have to have gratitude, but then you have to feel gratitude. It's a feeling. It's something you need to feel. Okay, it improves relationships and support systems. So people naturally, right, respond positively to someone who shows appreciation. Think about it. Okay, when someone shows you appreciation, you want to do more for them, right? You get that warm feeling. Okay, so it also works that way. Gratitude deepens trust. Okay, makes makes people trust you. Why? Because you're grateful, because you're putting out that vibe. Okay, collaboration, goodwill, all of those things, opportunities, resources, blessings, they're all involved in the gratitude process. Good morning, guys. Good morning, Cheryl. In simple terms, right? Gratitude takes what you have and increases its value emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and practically. Okay? So it multiplies. It multiplies joy, it multiplies peace, it multiplies opportunity, it multiplies abundance. It just multiplies. Okay, now, how do we always talk about the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. So, how does it work with the three states of awareness that we have in us? So, the conscious mind, right, is the deliberate practice. It chooses. Okay, so you have to choose gratitude. Okay, you intentionally look for what's going well and you become grateful for it. Okay, you choose to appreciate it. You shift your internal dialogue from lack to abundance when that happens. Okay, because now you're being grateful for what you have. So what let's say it's your house, and you say, "Wow, I'm so grateful for my house." You may not have like the best looking house, and it doesn't matter. Okay, but you say, "Wow, I'm really grateful for my house." So what happens? Well, you start to feel better about your house, right? So like attracts like. Okay, so when you express gratitude, okay, you internally look for what's going well, right? You choose the positive side. Okay, so we could call this positive thinking, okay, but it's positive expression. It's an expression of gratitude. Okay, the conscious mind chooses gratitude. The conscious mind chooses to be grateful. Okay, the subconscious mind is your emotional brain. Okay, it's where the programs are stored. Okay, so when you make an imprint, when you are grateful, you need to put that imprint to get it into your subconscious. And that's why you need to, be happy, be excited, okay? All of the positive emotions, because all of the negative emotions are rooted in fear. So you don't want to do that, okay? It's very difficult to be grateful out of fear, okay? It's very difficult. I've never done it, okay? So when you place your, emotion into it, right? You put emotion, incorporate your emotions into it. You form a positive imprint of gratitude on your subconscious. Now, when you do it over and over again, what happens? It goes into your subconscious as a belief. And your subconscious goes, oh, we're being grateful? Okay. And it starts repeating that process. Okay, so I do it every day. I do gratitude every day. Sometimes I do it at different times of the day. Generally in the morning, because I'm in the bathroom, showering or getting ready or waking up, that kind of thing. And I always say thank you, and I look around me and I choose things to be grateful for. Thank you for the shower, thank you. And you don't have to assign the gratitude. Okay, now, of course, if you believe in God, you can say, thank you, God, whatever you say, thank you, Jesus. Okay, you could say, thank you, Lord. But you don't have to assign gratitude. You'll know this and you'll discover this in meditation, that you don't have to assign gratitude. You'll notice in meditation that when you assign gratitude, it becomes limited. Or the awareness, your awareness kind of goes like this a little bit. Okay, if you don't know what I'm talking about, meditate. You'll find out. Okay? Because when you assign something spiritually, you're saying, okay, thank you, that. Thank you, that. Thank you, that. Now you're assigning something particular, okay, or specific. It's very different from just saying thank you. Okay, so you don't have to assign it if you don't want to. That's all I'm saying. Now, the superconscious, how does gratitude work in the superconscious? The superconscious is your intuitive, expansive, quantum level awareness. Oh, quantum level awareness, yeah. So it's infinite. The superconscious, or God, we can put God in the superconscious category. Okay, however you believe, whatever your belief system is, put it there. Hey, Manuel, good morning. Good morning, Manuel. And so we can put that in the superconscious. So how does this work? Well, when you say thank you, right, you raise your frequency into coherence, which is heart-brain alignment. Okay, if you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. Heart-brain, okay, alignment, and it's just aligning your heart with your breathing. You can do it. It's very simple. So here you could put your hand on your chest like this, so you feel your heart. Okay, this is very simple, very easy to do. Inhale for 5 seconds. Exhale for 5 seconds. Okay, do this for about 3 to 6 minutes. Let me know what happens. Okay, but these things happen when you perform gratitude practices. So gratitude is important. It's very important. Okay. And like I said, you don't have to direct it. Okay. So what happens when you're grateful? Well, you receive more. Is it like magic? No, it's not magic at all. Okay, gratitude acts like a signal. It broadcasts, okay? But it broadcasts through your superconscious and the conscious and the subconscious. So subconscious, superconscious alignment. Okay, so when you have alignment between the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious, gratitude works very quickly. Just like manifestation, okay? Or we can say accomplishing your goals. Same thing. Gratitude's chemical, yeah. Gratitude's chemical effects. So the chemical effects are the hormones, okay, that get released through your neurotransmitters. Okay, so endorphins is one of them. Okay, serotonin is another one. When you say thank you, when you are in true appreciation, those hormones get released in your brain and you feel good. Don't you feel good when you say thank you? Okay. So when you appreciate people, right? When you tell someone in person, like, thank you, wow, I really appreciate this, they feel good. You feel good, they feel good, okay? So what you're doing is you're raising your vibration when you do this. Why? Because you feel good, okay? So your vibration is your emotional frequency. That's what we're talking about, okay? We're not talking about scientific resonance. We're not talking about that. We're talking about your emotions. Okay, so when you're thankful, you feel better. Okay, you feel better, you do better. Okay, so it just spills over into every area of your life. So when you get that dopamine hit, okay, it releases dopamine as well. Then you start feeling good. Okay, it gives you a reward feedback, and you know you're getting positive feedback because you're feeling good, right? So when you express gratitude, you start feeling better. You start feeling good. Okay, serotonin is about well-being, about mood and well-being. Okay, so gratitude starts activating serotonin releases. Okay, well-being, confidence, satisfaction. Okay, and this is why our vocalization exercise works so well in people, is because it starts activating serotonin, it starts elevating serotonin levels. And this is what brings the confidence. And like I said, confidence is a very relaxed inner feeling that you get in here. Okay. Confidence is not about muscles in the gym and all that stuff. I wish it were that easy. I wish it was that easy. But yeah, it's an inner confidence. Okay. Now, what happens is you start rewiring your thought processes through your prefrontal cortex. Okay. Prefrontal cortex. Okay, what happens? Well, that's where you process 80,000 thoughts a day. So, what happens with that? Well, you start getting emotional regulation. Okay, so it's a calming. It's a calming, is what we're really talking about. Emotional regulation, perspective, rationality, all of those things, problem solving, prefrontal cortex functions. Okay, so that happens. So, all kinds of good things happen when you start, you know, doing your gratitude practices, when you're grateful, when you're expressing gratitude, your amygdala starts to calm down, okay? Because then you don't have that fight or flight response, okay? Because you start to calm inside. And then the heart-brain coherence, of course, okay? And I'm going through my list so that I get through everything. So I made a list today. So now the scientific mechanisms, okay, because people go, oh, yeah, okay, that's the spiritual thing. All right, yeah, we get it. Okay, it's a lot of woo-woo. No, it's actually scientific. Okay, so that's part of the biochemical reactions that happen. Okay, so you start to notice more opportunities though, okay? Because when your neurons fire together, they wire together, okay? Then what happens? Well, you get new neural pathways. You start to rewire your brain, okay? The reticular activating system in your brainstem, okay, starts to filter out things that you're not focused on, okay? Because it filters billions of stimuli, okay? It goes through a lot. It processes a lot, and then it narrows the focus, okay? And this is why when you focus on something, it intensifies, okay? Gratitude trains your RAS, believe it or not. Like it's so simple. Like it's very, very simple. So what happens is it focuses on resources, solutions, so positive things, opportunities, positive relationships, okay? All kinds of relationships, not just romantic relationships. I'm talking about positive, like positive people, okay? Selecting positive people. So your RAS filters out what you're not focused on. So if you're focused on gratitude, you're grateful, right? So the RAS starts giving you more things to focus on to be grateful for. And pretty soon you notice all the things you're grateful for. Okay. So as you go down the line, as you know, like in the morning, I say, thank you for the shower, thank you for the water, thank you for the soap, thank you for whatever. Okay, but I do this as a practice. I do this as a neural priming practice. And what does that do? It sets me up for the day. Try it. It's amazing. Okay, so neural priming means that you're priming your neurons to fire in that way. Okay, and if you're doing gratitude practices, it's firing in a positive way. Okay, so your RAS starts getting activated. Okay, and everything revolves around what you believe in your subconscious. Okay, so when you start expressing gratitude, right, you experience behavioral shifts. Why is that? Because you automatically start acting more positive. Okay, you take more action, you have better self-esteem. The more grateful you are, the more you elevate your self-esteem. Try it, it works. Okay, because when you express gratitude, you feel better. You feel better about yourself. You feel better about the things that you're being grateful for. Okay, so if you're being grateful for your car, for example, or you're being grateful for, you know, whatever it is. It could be your class in college. It could be anything, right? The better you feel about it. Grateful people build stronger relationships, business relationships, friendships, okay, personal relationships, okay, romantic relationships, that kind of thing too, okay? And they show more persistence. How does persistence factor in? Well, when you're grateful, right? You're expressing gratitude. You're saying, wow, I'm so happy I have this, right? And it keeps you going. So you become more persistent. Why? Because you're going to pursue more things to be grateful for. Why is that? Well, your RAS is targeting more things for you to be grateful for. Like attracts like. Okay? So if you're being grateful, you're going to get more positive things to be grateful for, because that's what's being filtered by your RAS. Now, if you do this in repetition, what happens in the subconscious, right? I go over this every day. It becomes a belief in your subconscious that gratitude is a good thing. It becomes a belief in your subconscious that, oh, I'm doing something good here, okay? So now, when it's a belief, what does the subconscious do? It repeats it for you. And then you get in the habit of being grateful. And then what happens? Well, everything I just said starts repeating over and over, okay? Because now you're doing it in repetition. Okay, so people that are grateful become better people, first of all. And everything out here reacts to everything in here, okay? Everything out here reacts to everything in here. Gratitude changes this one. Gratitude changes you on the inside. And everything out here is responding to what's inside. That's how it works, okay? So what do these behaviors result in? Better income, career success, okay, social support, health outcomes, okay? It attracts better people, okay? You're going to attract other grateful people. It's really quite simple. It's very, very simple. Now, some people have told me over the years, I've been teaching for a long time. I've been teaching for 37 years, and we've had our life coaching service since 2010. And sometimes I run into people and they go, wow, you know, I don't have that much to be grateful for. I hardly have anything. And I'm like, no, you have this one, right? Your heart is beating, right? Okay, Start there. Start there. Start with your life. Be grateful for your life. Be grateful for your existence. Now, if your existence isn't very good right now, because I was sleeping on a sidewalk, okay? I slept on a sidewalk for months when I was like in my early 20s, okay? I wasn't mad at the world. I wasn't mad at God. I was on an adventure. I was having fun, okay? But there I was on a sidewalk, sleeping on a sidewalk. Was I grateful for my life? Yeah. I remember the first night I was on the street, I woke up in an alley. I woke up in an alley, and this guy that I met, Steve, he passed away already. But I met this guy, Steve. We became good friends. And we just kind of sat in the alley until we fell asleep. And I remember waking up around, I don't know, I think it was like 5 o'clock in the morning, and the sun was hitting me in the face, and I woke up and I go, whoa, I'm alive. You know, I was kind of surprised I was still alive. So the first night is always, you know, the first day, first night, first experience. It's always a little spooky, but after that, it was okay. But then after that, like everything that happened, I was grateful for. Okay, and I don't really think I was as grateful before that. So if anything, sleeping on the sidewalk made me very, very grateful. And it kind of set the precedence. I had disconnected from my family. I didn't have anything to do with my family. Okay? I was disconnected from them for quite a while. And eventually, everything came back. And the reason why everything comes back, and the reason why you see, you know, even people that lose a fortune, right? So, good morning, Sarah. Good morning. Nice to see you. The reason you see people, you know, they make millions of dollars and they lose it all and they make it all back, okay, is because you attract who you are. Okay, you attract what you are and who you are more than what you want. You can attract what you want if you deliberately put it in your subconscious, and this is what I teach. Okay, because a lot of people, and it boils down to goal setting. Okay, we can say it that way. It's not magic. It doesn't just happen like that, or you do a spell, or you wave a magic wand. It doesn't work like that. Okay. This is subconscious. Conscious, subconscious, superconscious. And there's a formula. Okay. The formula is ask, believe, receive. The conscious mind asks. It makes a selection. It selects something. After you do it in repetition, it goes into the subconscious as a belief. Ask, believe. Okay? After it does that, the subconscious starts finding avenues for you. The superconscious starts providing intuitive thought. Why does it do that? So you can receive. Ask, believe, receive. So everything that you have, everything that you're doing from day to day, you are manifesting. Okay? You're manifesting. What I teach people is how to be selective, okay? Because if you know that you have this natural ability to manifest everything, then why not do it deliberately? Why not take charge of your life? Take charge of your life and say, okay, I'm going to go for that. Or I want this, or I want that, or whatever. And it could be a job, it could be it could involve a career. It could involve a significant other. It could involve a relationship, a marriage, whatever it is you want to experience. You're in this world to experience things for you. Everybody has a different idea of, you know, what they want to be, what they want to become, what they want to do, what they want to experience, things they want to have, things they want to do, places they want to go, all of that. But not everybody knows how to put this into action. It's very simple. I'm not here to sell you anything either. Okay, there's no sales pitch at the end of my lives. Sorry about that, but yeah, if you're waiting for a package or whatever, no, none of that. Okay, I'm here to teach you. I'm here to teach you how. It's very simple. Okay, it's very, very simple. Rock Painting Mama, good morning.
To go after that. Now, that could be a career. That could be a relationship. That could be a thing, a material.
That could be spiritual knowledge. Anything. But the conscious mind makes the selection. Okay? When you start thinking about it, okay, a belief is a thought you keep thinking, then it becomes a belief, then it becomes a thing. It materializes. Okay? You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Juliana. Okay, sorry, I for your life. Don't let life just happen to you. Choose things. Commit to things. Okay, I know commitment sometimes sounds like a dirty word, right? Oh, I gotta commit to that, so I gotta stick to that. Yeah, you need to stick to that if you want to attain it. Okay, you have to stick to it. Oh, thank you, Juliana. I got it right. Thank you. But yeah, so pick something. Okay, select something, and then as soon as you believe in what you're asking, in other words, if let's say you're asking for a career. Let's say you want to be a lab tech. Okay, I'm just pulling these things out of the sky. Let's say you want to be a lab tech. Okay, what's involved in being a lab tech? Well, when you make a commitment, okay, when you say, okay, I'm going to be a lab tech, your subconscious will start to say, well, you need to go to school, maybe community college, right? Whatever is involved. And you'll have to take the steps. When you take the steps, the superconscious or God opens the doors as you take the steps. You ever notice that? As you take the steps towards something, the doors open. When you stop taking steps, what happens? The doors don't open, they close. And so I had to point this out. I just want to put this in here because I have a business client who's doing really, really well right now. Okay, and when he came to me, he didn't understand this process. Okay, and I told him, no, you have to take the steps and walk towards the goal. So we made the goal, right? And the goal becomes the center point. Okay, and you need a fixed center point. In other words, you make a decision and you don't change your mind and you walk towards the goal. That's the center point. That's what we call the center point. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like my philosophy. It's not really my philosophy, but I wish it were, but I didn't invent this. But yeah, it's a thing. Thank you so much, Ray. Thank you, Ray. Ray Villa. But you have to stick to your goal, okay? Because if you change your mind, let's say the conscious mind says, okay, we're in a lab tech. And then it goes, no, I think I want to be a dental assistant. Okay, guess what? It's like a GPS. You know the GPS spins like that in a circle when you change? Okay? And then the superconscious or God says, wait, hold on. I got to readjust. And then it lays out your path to dental assistant. Okay? If you keep changing your mind, God doesn't know where you want to go. God knows what to do. Okay? But he doesn't know where you want to go. I'm just using he as a figurative, okay? God is not a he. God is an energy. God lives in here. Jesus Christ said the kingdom is within. Okay, I say that every day so people realize that the kingdom is within. But when you commit to a decision and make it your center point, your timeline corresponds to you, like this. Okay, your timeline. You've been conditioned to look at a timeline like this. Okay, that's not what a timeline is. But you've been conditioned to, they show it to you in school, right? And you've been through school's 12-step program, right? First through 12th grade. Then you graduate, you go to college. Then from college, you go to grad school or whatever. Okay, get your master's or your PhD or whatever it is. But you think timelines are like this. Time is an illusion. Einstein told us that. Okay? It's an illusion. But we need organization in society. So we need to illustrate things so that there's a visual. But that's not the way it works. Okay? Timelines work like this. They go like that. Okay? You ever notice when you're really stubborn about something and you stick to it, it works? And that other things accommodate it? Right? Okay? So you stick to it and things just kind of go like this and they conform to what you're sticking to. I've been in so many situations where I've been discriminated against, right? I've been in situations where there were cliques that I didn't belong to. I didn't have to belong to a clique. I got to live all of my dreams, do everything I wanted to do, built my companies, did everything I wanted without belonging to a clique. But in the beginning, years and years and years ago, right? Like in my 20s, even into my 30s, I thought, oh, well, the way I have to get here is through the gatekeepers, through these guys that have a lockdown on the industry or have control over the industry or whatever, right? Wrong. That's not the way it works. You have a life path. God lives in here. You don't need them. You can still do what you want to do. Okay? You may not be playing their game. You may not be in on their action, okay, so to speak, right? But you can still do what you want to do. You can still be successful at what you want to do. You don't need the gatekeepers. Your success does not rely on anyone else. It relies on you. It relies on what you decide. It relies on what you make the center point and what you stick to. And as long as you make up your mind, okay? Or let's say it another way. Once you make a goal and stick to it and take the steps towards it, and this is what my business client is finding out. And we have a walking meeting. Every Sunday I go down to the park and we walk. We do walking meetings. We have regular meetings, but we do walking meetings once a week. And I keep telling him, I'm like, you see? He goes, well, I met so-and-so, and then so-and-so, and then I talked to so-and-so, and now he wants to do this and do that. And what I said, you see? As you take the steps, the doors open. Not everybody's brave enough to keep taking steps. What happens? Well, they slow down. They stop. They freeze up when one door doesn't work, okay? So entrepreneurs do what we call pivoting. Okay, we take the steps over here, the doors open. When the door doesn't open and we start hitting a closed door for too long, okay, you hear a lot of people and they go, well, just break it down. Yeah, right. You pivot. You go like that. This is not working? Okay, go here. Now you go here. Now you make some more progress. Now more doors open. Okay, this is God's way of going, I want you to go over here. But in order to go here, you may have to go here first, okay? Then you go here first, and then you go here and, oh, there you go. Okay? And this is because you have a life path in here that unfolds like this. It unfolds like this. Life happens for you. It doesn't happen to you. If you think life happens like this, then you're living a reactionary life. We call that victim mentality because you think things are happening to you instead of for you. But things happen the opposite. It happens for you. Why is this important to know? Because it depends on what's in your subconscious as your core beliefs. Okay? And this is where they get the expression, God knows your heart. Okay, because God knows your heart. Or let's say it another way, God knows your subconscious. Okay? Because all of your beliefs are in your subconscious. Your core values are all in your subconscious. If something doesn't align with your core values, you cannot stick to it. It will not stick to you. Why? Because there's a disconnect. Okay? So you know people that win the lottery, okay? They win the lottery, millions of dollars. And then after a few months or maybe a year or a couple years, not only do they lose all the money they won, but they're in debt. Because their mindset did not match what happened to them. Okay? In other words, they weren't prepared, okay? Or it wasn't conducive. Their life path was not conducive to all of that money or to that oh, thank you. Thank you, rock painting mama. Thank you. It's not conducive. It doesn't match. It's not that the money was bad. It's not that the money was bad. It's that their decision making did not match all of that abundance. Okay, you have to be abundant here first. Okay, you have to be prepared here to win the lottery. That's like prompting something, right? When let's say you enter a contest and you win something. Let's say you enter a contest and you win millions of dollars. You just entered the contest. You didn't prepare. Okay, and this is what they talk about when they talk about money sticking. Okay, when preparation meets opportunity, you get success, but the preparation is necessary. Okay, if you just stumble onto the success part, does that happen? Yeah, that happens to a lot of people. All of a sudden, boom, and it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. This is why you work your way up to that level. Because otherwise it won't stick. And if it won't stick, it'll go. For example, if in your core values you have a certain belief, maybe money is evil or rich people are evil or whatever it is, or if you have hang-ups about money. You ever give money to somebody, right? And you give money to somebody, oh, no, what's that for? They're pushing it away. They're insulting the giver. Oh, no. You think if they won the lottery, they're going to keep it? They couldn't keep it if they tried. Okay? Why is that? Because in their core beliefs about money, wealth is not a part of it. Abundance is not a part of their belief. The people that say, oh, you shouldn't have, they insult the giver. When you say you shouldn't have, that's like an imaginary force field doing this. You're pushing it away. So what are your core beliefs about money? Well, you have to do some soul searching. You have to find out, and then you have to correct it. Okay, so how do you correct it? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. I am so happy and grateful now that I am accepting of money. Okay. There's a difference between welcoming money, okay, and loving money for the sake of loving money. When you worship money, when you love money, okay, instead of people, instead of, right, human beings, that's what they call the root of all evil. Why is that? It's because you take your You shift your focus away from people and you put it on money. A lot of damage happens when you do that. Because now it's about money, it's not about people. Now it's about the bottom line, it's not about people starving. Now it's about the bottom line, it's not about people having housing. Now it's about the bottom line, it's not about, you see? Okay? That's the root of all evil. Money is not the root of all evil. Loving money. Doing anything for the sake of money. I worked with this guy once, and he said, it's about money or it's about nothing. He actually told me that. He's a city councilman right now. We're watching and seeing how that's playing out, but I'm just saying, right? Think about that. It's about money or it's about nothing. Okay? I'm not judging. I'm just saying that's what I was told. But some people think that. And some people live like that. Hey, Rosanna. Hi, Rosanna. Thank you, Rosanna. Oh, thank you for the heart, Rosanna. Thank you. Nice to see you again. You're very welcome. And this is why I'm sharing my time. I share my time. This is the 217th live. We've been doing this since April. 217 hours of my life doing lives. Okay. But I'm here for a reason. Number one, so that you realize or understand or learn that your voice can heal you. I've been working miracles through people's voices for years. You can look it up. The company is called Voicemaster Vocal Development. And this company is called Here For You Life Coaching. And both businesses have nothing but 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot. Thank you, thank you. Hey, Maria. Yeah, look, Manuel, it's Rosanna. And the reason why we only get 5-star reviews is because this works on human beings, and that's all I teach. I just teach human beings. Okay. You know, I always bring this up because I've had so many 3-year-olds, right? 3-year-olds, okay? And grandmothers now bring 3-year-olds, their 3-year-old granddaughters, their 3-year-old grandsons. And 3-year-olds are amazing people, okay? You just need to know how to communicate with them. And so this lady brings her granddaughter. She's 3. Amazing talent, this little girl, right? And so from the very first session, I get her attention. And slowly, we build her up, make her muscles strong. She gets more confident, you know. And her grandmother told me one day, she said, you know, I'm so happy I found you because everybody says they have to be 6 years old to teach them. And I said, well, that's because they don't know how to teach. Okay. And some people teach because they, you know, look at it as an available position or an available profession or whatever. And some people teach because it's hereditary, like myself. Okay, I tried to run from teaching. I did a podcast on that. It's on my podcast if you find that. It's called I Ran From Teaching. But it's on my podcast on Apple Podcasts. You can look for it. It's the Kekuewa Jr. show. And but yeah, I ran from teaching. I didn't want to teach. Sometimes I want to run away again. Sometimes I want to go back and perform and play music and do those things that make people laugh. But anyway, so I told her, I said, well, the reason why people don't, you know, teach 3-year-olds is they're not teaching from this is a 3-year-old human level. They're teaching from, oh, this is a little kid and they're not ready. They're ready. 3-year-olds are ready. This is why you see 5-year-old geniuses, right? Because they see other children on iPads and they go, oh, let me try that. I can do that. And they try, right? 5-year-old drummers, 5-year-old guitar players, 5-year-old geniuses. It's because they're human beings. When you understand this one, and then you understand that the kingdom is within, and then you understand that God lives in here, everything is possible, even in 3-year-olds. Okay, so don't sell your 3-year-olds short if you have them, or if you get them one day. Don't sell your 3-year-olds short. They're hungry for knowledge. Okay, they just need to be shown the way. You can communicate with them. You have to come down to 3-year-old level. That's all. That's the secret. Okay. So now let's summarize, and we'll take questions. You guys can ask me questions if you want to. So let's summarize this whole thing that we're talking about today. Okay. So now gratitude, right? How does gratitude work? And in the conscious mind chooses gratitude. It chooses to be grateful. So you make the decision. I'm going to be grateful. Okay. It directs attention. Okay. It directs attention at what you're being grateful for. Okay. And it's directing gratitude. It's directing the energy of gratitude. Okay. And it begins rewiring your brain. Because now, in gratitude, in that energy, your neurons are firing gratitude. Okay? It's a new process. Oh, now we're being grateful. Okay, boom. Neurons start firing. When they fire together, they wire together. Now you have new neural pathways because you're expressing gratitude. Okay, what happens? The neurotransmitters start firing, and then you get elevated serotonin levels. You get elevated endorphin levels. Okay, you get elevated, right? Okay, hormones. Okay, now when we work with people with their voice, it's oxytocin and endorphins that happens. When you express straight, solid tones with force, with strength, okay, the neurotransmitters fire. And this is why it works with everybody. It works with every human being like this. What does it do? It gets rid of anxiety. It gets rid of stress. Okay, it's good. It lowers stress levels dramatically. It gets rid of overthinking. Okay, part of the reason why people have so much overthinking, which leads to decisiveness, right? Because you're overthinking. You're thinking about something too much. And the human brain is very diverse because it can split one thing into 7, 8, 9, 12, 14, 20 things. And then you start getting the negative what ifs about it, right? What if this happens? What if that happens? What if that happens? About the same topic. Okay. You start jumping to conclusions. This one, that one, that one, that one, that one. That kind of thing, right? Happens to everybody. Okay. Some people more than others. Some people are more sensitive. My biggest overthinkers are people with degrees. Multiple degrees. Sometimes I get people with multiple degrees. Quite often. Okay. I had one girl, she has tons of certifications. She's certified in everything. Tons of stuff. Anyway. Every time she gets bored, she tells me she goes and gets certified. But those people are very sensitive. They're good thinkers. So the good news is they're good thinkers. The bad news is they're good thinkers. Okay. But the more you overthink, the subconscious goes, oh, we're an overthinker. See? And then it keeps overthinking. It becomes a habit. Overthinking becomes a habit. Anxiety becomes a habit. All these things become a habit. You can't get rid of trauma. You can't get rid of anxiety, but you can quiet it down. Anxiety will come back if you get triggers that are going to make you anxious. but you can quiet all of that down. And what's the way I say it is you push it down, move forward, push it down, move forward. And sometimes with the voice, when you push it down, it stays down for a long, long time. And these are the things that we notice. Okay, so your conscious mind chooses gratitude. Your subconscious stores gratitude, okay, as a habit. It forms new emotional patterns. Okay, that's the neural pathways. Okay, expects abundance. Now, when you're expecting abundance, what happens? Abundance. Okay. When you're expecting bad stuff, when you're worried, right? It's like praying for something bad to happen. Worry is like praying for something bad to happen. Because you're like, what if this happens? What if that happens? Oh, I'm worried about this. What if that happens? What if that happens? And then something bad happens, and you go, I knew it. I knew something bad was going to happen. Yeah? Okay, you made it happen through your perception. You made it happen. Okay, because you were determined that something wrong was going to happen. Okay, shift your focus. Shift your focus. Okay. So what does the superconscious do? It amplifies gratitude. Why? Because this is your higher self, the superconscious, God, your higher self, infinite intelligence, the universe, source, all of this over here in this category. It aligns you with intuition. Your intuition gets sharper when you're grateful. Try it. Try being grateful every day. Express it. You know what I do in my car is I turn off the stereo. And I look at things and I say, thank you for the building, thank you for the trees, thank you for the children, thank you for the parks. Whatever I pass, whatever I'm driving by. Thank you for the fire hydrant. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. That's what I do. Thank you for this. Thank you for whatever. And I just name it. And then I turn my stereo back on after a few minutes. Now, if you do this every day, okay, and if you change your language, start saying I love instead of I like. Okay? Say I love. If you're in the shopping center and you see ladies, you're walking past a window and you see shoes that you like, instead of oh, I like those shoes, say I love those shoes. You see a handbag you like, go, I love that handbag. Change like to love, okay? And watch what happens. You know, I love those flowers. I love those chocolates. I love that cookware set. I love whatever it is. I love, okay? And watch what happens. And then be grateful, okay? All you have to do is say thank you. Now, if you want something, it works for that too. It works for that too. Okay, if you're looking at shoes in a window in a mall and you want those shoes, say thank you for it. Thank you for those shoes. Thank you for those shoes. I did that with a watch once. I did it with this watch. I told a story on one of my early lives. I told a story about the watch, and I used to walk by this jeweler who had this black diver's watch. It's a pilot's watch. It's an aviation watch in the window. And I was saying thank you for the watch. I was looking at it. I said that's my watch. I was proclaiming it. I was declaring it, right? And one day they told me they were going out of business. They lost their lease contract. Somebody else bid higher and they lost their lease. And I think it was the last week. And I thought, you know what? I better go see how much that watch is. And I went and asked them, and of course they took out the calculator and they did that thing, and they gave me a super fire sale price, right? And I bought it. Okay, it was way below retail because they were going out of business. So, sometimes the circumstances come into alignment. It's right. Be career young.